Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America has returned to Circuit of the Americas for the first time since 2017 when they shared the track with the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. This time, the Lamborghini Huracan Evos returned to start their season as a part of the inaugural NASCAR weekend at the facility. Race 2 of the weekend is up next on NBCSN. It's Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Round 2 from Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Welcome to Austin, the great state of Texas. I'm Brian Till. Jeremy Shaw will join me in a few minutes to help call the action today. But first, we have to talk about the weather because it is sure to play a part in today's race. It's a comfortable day temperature-wise for Texas this time of year, low 70s with a slight breeze. But the challenge is going to be the light rain that's falling around the circuit and the showers that are in the area. They've been hit or miss all morning long and will continue to be that way throughout the day. But challenges are what drivers relish. Drivers like Stephen McAleer and his teammate 2018 and 2020 Pro Class champion Madison Snow. They are sure to be contenders for the win today and throughout the season. Richard Antonucci made his championship intentions clear yesterday in round 1 by claiming a dominant victory overall and in the pro category. And the fastest driver on track in race 1 was actually Pro-Am competitor Laura Spinelli from new entrant Torino Racing. Spinelli and co-driver Claude Cineretti will look to improve on their 4th place Pro-Am finish in round 1. And speaking of Stephen McAleer, there's no better way to get a feel for the challenges of Circuit of the Americas than to go for a ride with McAleer in his number 16 Change Racing Huracan Evo from Lamborghini Charlotte.
Stephen McAleer here. This is P1 lap round Circuit of the Americas. And I'll be off the dry line, so I'm going to brake in the middle of the racetrack, looking for the 2 big hard brake, get the car slowed down. I missed the first apex. Back to power, little careful power down. Turn 2, normal dry line here, just got to be really careful with the speed. And then through the S's, really tricky stuff. We're just going to be tiptoeing our way through here. I'll nibble at all the curbs, 3, 4, 5, down into 3rd gear, and really just trying to keep it tidy. Back over to the left-hand side, nice and grippy over here. Back through the dry line, got to be careful. And then really, again, just staying off all the apexes. You saw a little twitch there. Wide in turn 8, turns the grip out here in turn 8. Back over to 9, careful on the way in, and then really working on getting good power down, heading towards the first hairpin. Turn 10 here, a little tricky, little lift, and then we're going to go back into the middle of the racetrack. Hard braking at the 2 board, and then super wide, really working on the exit here. Don't care too much about the entry. Back to power, hopefully not enough, too much wheel spin, and then we get a few seconds here to think about what we're doing. I'm looking at the predictive lap time. I know this lap is better than the previous one, and I know I need a little bit of time here to try and sneak the pole position. I'm going to brake mid-track, too slick on the dry line, and then the surface changes, gets really slick on the way in. Missing the apex, you can kind of do both there. Careful again, power down, and this is where it gets real slick. You saw the change in surface, so really trying to get away from that dry line. Power down through this right-hand turn, really tough. I'm using the curbing, cars all over the place. I'm just trying to be as tidy as I can. Again, another important corner just before the carousel, working on power down. And we're almost done with the lap here. So dry line on the way in, car starts to move around right at the apex. And it's just maintenance here, just trying to keep the mid-corner speed up. Again, already looking for 19, hard braking, just missed this apex, and really working to try and stay off the curbing on the outside. Slickest corner on the track, turn 20, mid-track braking, and then we call it a rim shot as wide as I can get away with, and really working on power down. And that is a lap at Kota.
So let's take it back to round 1, though, from yesterday. Dry racetrack here in Austin, and the action started right at the drop of the green flag. Keep your eyes on that purple number 27 inside the 2nd row. That's Richard Antonucci, experienced in this championship, and he wastes no time trying to get that car to the front. Alex Udell, a good battle there. Problems for the 7. Mark Issa, a spin over in turn 13 in the number 7 Lamborghini Huracan Evo. Little greasy racetrack with NASCAR cars on this racetrack as well. And then the problems started. John Hennessy into the back of Randy Solaria. That creates tire rub for Solari, and that is going to come back and haunt him just a little bit later. That's actually John Hennessy right there in the 33 into the 7, creates significant damage. And this was interesting because it happened right at the pit window, the mandatory pit window in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Championship that comes 20 minutes into the race and lasts for 30. We talked about that tire rub for Randy Solari coming back to haunt him. It did. That tire down in the S's. No problems at all for this man, though. Dream Racing, the number 27, Richard Antonucci, takes a victory. What a way to start 2021. Celebration in pit lane. He'll look to make it 2 in a row from here at COTA today. As we prepare for round 2 of Lamborghini Super Trofeo action, here's how the field will line up coming to the green. On pole, Stephen McAleer will lead the charge in the number 16 Lamborghini Charlotte entry that he shares with 2-time series champion Madison Snow. And there's more championship pedigree outside row 1 with Richard Antonucci. He won the Pro Championship in 2019 with Corey Lewis, but perhaps more importantly, he was dominant in his victory here yesterday. Row 2 has the number 51 Pro-Am pole sitter, Laura Spinelli, starting beside Texas native Alec Udell and his number 48 Kelly Moss, Lamborghini San Francisco Huracan Evo. Row 3 probably has more youth and exuberance than any other in the field. Inside is the Pro Class entry of 20-year-old Max Weering in the number 61 MCR Racing entry, another new team to Lamborghini Super Trofeo action. And alongside will be 2 drivers who narrowly missed the Pro Championship last season, teenager Stephen Agakani and 25-year-old former Pro-Am champion Jacob Edson. A very recognizable name, and rightly so. Outside row 4, Nelson Piquet Jr. will take over from starting driver Sergio Jimenez at the required pit stop, and outside row 5, you'll find Lamborghini Super Trofeo rookie, AM Class pole winner, and AM Class Race 1 winner Gianno Torino. Row 6 will be the starting point for round 1 Pro-Am winners Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz. And another rookie starts inside row 8. That's 17-year-old Luke Berkeley. He's making only his 2nd Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series start, fighting for the win in AM. And Matt Dickin, well, he's in row 10. He stood on the top of the LB Cup podium yesterday. He's looking to make it 2 for 2 here in Texas. Coming through turn 20, the pace car in pit lane. You can see the windshield wipers going back and forth. Anticipation. Antonucci, so good at the start yesterday. The field lined up nicely. This is what the officials want to see, and McAleer wants to see that rain in that light blue and white Bud Light, number 16 on the pole. They were so good in the rain. He and Madison Snow, who share that car. Field looks absolutely fantastic. Green flag wave and a jump by Daniel Mancinelli there in the 3rd row. That black and fluorescent yellow car, a good jump at start. Cars already over into pit lane, and look at this, McAleer sliding back into 2nd. And it is treacherous going through turn 1, and the racetrack is going to change every single lap, every single corner, Jeremy, with the rain now coming down.
Yeah, it is really treacherous out there. Everybody's on that slick tire. So
and a big crash. That's the 61.
Max Weering.
Weering with a great run yesterday. A lot of experience in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evo, but not much experience on this racetrack, especially in these conditions. And I think these conditions are some of the most challenging, Jeremy, when it just starts to get damp. But that was a big hit and a big off over there in turn 3. Meanwhile, the racing continues up front. Expect to go full course caution. They're going to let the field get settled down before they throw the flag, I would imagine. And now a problem for the 99, Alan Metney. Racetrack really getting slick.
Yeah, that's really treacherous out there right now. Loris Spinelli using his experience from Italy to take the lead in that Italian flag liveried car in the car number 51 for Torino Racing. That team brand new to the championship this season. You see the rain on the camera lens there. It's really tricky right now, and I think race control is going to, the full course caution has come out or has not come out?
Yeah.
Yes, it has come out. So we are under full course caution, and I think this is going to be an opportunity for all of the cars to come onto the pit lane and perhaps make a mandatory change onto wet weather tires. We'll have to wait and see what happens. There's Randy.
For Weering, he is disappointed. Let's see why. He comes into the shot and he's already moving to the right. I'm wondering if he had help, Jeremy.
Yeah, it could be there was another car right behind him there, and all of a sudden that car speared off to the right-hand side.
So he's already off. It would have been the number 1, I think, that would have been right behind him, but hard to really tell from either one of those views. That's on the run to turn 3. You've come out of the downhill right-hand turn 2, and on that run to turn 3, an odd place to have a problem like that and have the car go right, unless he just loses the back end. 620 horsepower, and even with traction control, difficult to get grip on these slick tires.
Yes.
The incident for the 99 of Metney.
So the local driver there from Austin, Texas, unfortunately the local noise not playing in Alan Metney's favor. He goes for spin, and an I-Fly car number 99.
Wearing climbs over the wall, see the disappointment. NBCSN's coverage of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America continues right after this. Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America continues on NBCSN from Circuit of the Americas. Will be the restart zone is through turn 20, and that's exactly what Spinelli does. He gets that V10 singing as they head down the front straightaway. We're back under green. And a nice orderly restart. This is not what Stephen McAleer wants. You can see a dry line, and Richard Antonucci very aggressive with the move down on the 6, trying to keep Jake Edson in the 6 from getting by. A really aggressive move in the braking zone of turn 1. Antonucci holds the spot. Jacob Edson is going to have to settle for 4th right now.
Yeah, that was a very bold effort there by Jacob Edson to try and get into the 3rd position.
Antonucci very loose. Sorry, Jeremy. Antonucci very loose, but there's probably not a more experienced driver behind the wheel of one of these Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evos than Richard Antonucci. We've talked about it. He is one of the drivers that Lamborghini relied on to develop this car, and I think that experience was just shown there in the S's as that car got very loose. And I wonder, was it cold tires, was it moisture on the racetrack, or was it a combination of both?
Yeah, combination of both most likely. And news from race control, there's a drive-through penalty for car number 11. That's Daniel Mancinelli in that car, the car number 11 for TR3 Racing. He was a judge who jumped the initial start. He would have to come in to serve a drive-through penalty.
Well, I mentioned that as the field came down the front straightaway, and he certainly popped out. I didn't get a replay, so I couldn't see when the green flag waved, but when you drive a car that colored, it's pretty obvious when you move, you don't blend in very well. And I was wondering if perhaps that's the reason that the start was under review. Daniel Mancinelli, a very talented driver, and the TR3 Racing team, good to see them here in the Lamborghini of Miami entry. But for Mancinelli, the young Italian, 32 years old, he's got experience in all different types of GT championships, and he's a great guy. Just a real bubbly personality, but I think the adrenaline just got the best of him there at the start, and he peaked out and jumped a little too soon. That's going to cost him a drive-through. Yeah, that's going to be very, very costly in this 50-minute race. So he didn't come in this time around. He's got a couple of laps in which to serve that penalty, but it's still McAleer who leads by maybe a couple of seconds, a little bit less than over Stephen McAleer. Richard Antonucci in 3rd place, just ahead of Jacob Edson. Mancinelli, whoops, is 5th. There's a big slide by Jacob Edson. He's got to cut down right rear tire. He has. Yep, a cut down right rear tire, and that's not what you want to have anywhere around this racetrack, but especially on the way into turn 1, because, Jeremy, it means 3.4 miles around to get help and get back to the pit lane. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Jacob Edson. It's going to be a long, long way around, and that's going to be very costly. Last season, he and Stephen Argacani in this number 6 car for the what is now Agara Motorsports with US Racetronics, they came within 3 points of the championship, having come back from adversity on a couple of occasions during the season. They won 4 races. Once again, they're going to lose valuable points here this morning. And for Edson, he's the 2019 North American Pro-Am champion. He knows how to win races. He knows how to win championships. That's why he's co-driving with young Stephen Agakani. Agakani certainly knows how to win races, but winning championships is another ball game altogether. It's about the consistency and putting it together, and they looked poised to do that last year. And as you said, adversity in just a couple of rounds kept them from hoisting the big trophy at the end of the season, and now adversity again here in round 2. But you can make up for that, and really kind of the same thing I would say to the TR3 group. You've got that penalty. One of the things that's not going to happen is officials rarely change their mind. If you serve it now, then you can come back in, do your regular pit stop, and hopefully get a full course caution after that and move yourself back up. The longer you sit out and argue, the less time you have to make up for it. And if you get a full course caution and you haven't served your penalty yet, then it does you absolutely no good at all. There is still plenty of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America action coming your way. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Circuit of the Americas. Pit window is now open, and it's got to be disappointing for Jacob Edson, and I don't know how you would time this out as a team. We saw Jacob Edson in the number 6 moving down pit lane. He had that cut down right rear tire. He's made it back to the pits, but he got to the pits about 15 seconds before the pit window opened. Oh. Almost like if you had kind of been keeping track of it, perhaps you could have stopped him on the racetrack offline somewhere for 15 seconds. So he could have gotten all of that done at one time, but he's changed the tire and he came in before the pit windows open. So he's going to have to do another pit stop and do a driver change as well.
Yeah, that's an error by that team. They should have kept him out, just to park it on the racetrack for 15 seconds before he came onto the pit lane. I think that wasn't the smartest move. But the pit window is open. Richard Antonucci is the first of the contenders. Third, fourth, and fifth place cars, excuse me, all came onto pit lane. And the number 11 car was running in the 4th position as a result of the miscue for Jacob Edson in terms of that tire going down. So he will be now in pits. That's Daniel Mancinelli. I think he was not sure whether that was his penalty he was serving or his mandatory pit stop, because he's going to make 2 pit stops in the number 11 car. The number 62 also is on to pit lane. That's Bill Pelichewski, who was one of the LB Cup contenders.
Wild Bill Pelichewski, as you called him yesterday. Very experienced driver, and he always thrilling to watch. Speaking of thrilling, the Purple 27, the Bitbull Capital Lamborghini Vegas Dream Racing Lamborghini of Richard Antonucci heads back out of the pit lane after sitting for 94 seconds, and that has to seem like an eternity when you're not doing a driver change, you're not taking fuel, you're not taking tires. 94 seconds from pit in to pit out, and you need to sit still for 63 of those seconds. That has to seem like a long time. Timing and scoring will cycle through as this pit stop window remains open for 10 minutes. You've got that time, and this is the strategic part of it. The teams are looking at who the driver is that started the race, and a problem for the 88.
That's Gianni Torino, who is leading the AM category. He was running in the 4th position, and Gianni has not made his pit stop. And looked like there's a big piece of rubber debris.
I believe that's in turn 15, and I would think it's part of the carcass, more than likely from the 6 of Jacob Edson.
So Spinelli did not come into pit lane. Spinelli is a good bit quicker than his much less experienced teammate Claude Signoretti. So Spinelli will stay out until the end of the pit window, which will be closing in about 7 minutes' time. So Spinelli can stay out as long as he possibly can before handing over that car to Signoretti. Meanwhile, the second place car of Stephen McAleer, he is on pit lane. I will hand over that car to Madison Snow, last year's champion in Lamborghini Super Trofeo.
Well, that's what we were talking about too, Jeremy. It's that strategy side of who's in the car right now, who's the fastest, who can make more time by staying on the racetrack. As smoke there out of the back. Was that the 88 again? It is. And we typically don't see this. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evo, a very mechanically sound car. I wonder if that's some type of a tire rub or what have you. Mechanical issues with these cars are incredibly rare, and that is amazing to me, considering 620 horsepower, over 400 foot-pounds of torque, and 70% of this race car is the street car. the idea that you can press that hard shows you just what type of a supercar Lamborghini is built.
What a super driver Loris Spinelli is as well. He's just 1 minute 7.88.
Oh.
That's more than a second quicker than yesterday's fastest lap in these pretty tricky conditions. I think the track is certainly dry. The moisture that was falling a little while ago seems to have stopped right now, but still it's a stunning lap. The race lap record here was 2:07.0. That was set back in 2015 by Eduardo Piscopo. But the track since then has, it's not, let's say it's not nearly as smooth as it was back in 2015.
Well, and I'm looking at timing and scoring, Jeremy. I'm not seeing anybody within 2 seconds or a second and a half of that lap time right now. Stephen McAleer just clicked off a 2:09, so after this pit stop, times will be a little bit quicker, but a 2:09 to a 2:07.8, well over a second quicker, and as you said it, Spinelli putting on a clinic. NBCSN's coverage of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America continues right after this. You're watching Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America on NBCSN. See the difference in speed in the different class cars. The cars exactly the same. They have the same horsepower. It is the same chassis, the same systems and everything, but he was going past Tom Kerr in the number 74 Kelly Moss Road and Race Lamborghini San Francisco Huracan, and look at him pull away. Tom Kerr, not nearly the experience of Daniel Mancinelli in this type of car, and I think that's one of the things that's so neat about this series is that all the entrants are driving the exact same equipment, and it gives you, as a non-professional driver, the opportunity to measure yourself against other pros in the field because you're all driving the same equipment. So you've got a really good idea of where you stand and where you need to improve. And I think the other great thing, Jeremy, is a lot of these teams running cars in multiple classes, if you're an AM driver or an LB Cup driver and you've got a pro category entrant on your team as well underneath that tent, that's a lot of data to look at and a lot of experience to pull from.
That's right, yeah. From vascular surgeon, Tom Kerr is doing a pretty good job. If you put these race car drivers in the operating theatre, probably not such a good idea.
Not if I'm on the table.
No. So here is the pit stop there for our race leader. Loris Spinelli is on the pit lane now for Torino Racing, and it will be Claude Signorelli from Brazil who will take over that car for the closing portion of this race. Meanwhile, coming down the back straight as that car is in the pit lane is the next car in line. Second place at the moment, then he's yesterday's winner Richard Antonucci, but close behind him, he's just he took the lead from the number 16 of Stephen McAleer.
Oh,
that'll be Madison Snow, of course.
I know that there are going to be people who disagree with me on this, but I didn't think that was quite sporting. Antonucci passed Madison Snow, and it happened at turn 11. He gets to the inside, but then just drives him off the racetrack, much as we see the sticks right there of Stephen Agacani doing. And I know that people have a different opinion, but it's clear in the rules. If you enter the corner side by side, the car that's on the outside must have room at the exit of the corner. And I feel like Madison Snow did not have room to stay on the racetrack. In fact, he was put over the big bumps at the exit. You're going to disagree with me, Jeremy, because I know you're pretty hardcore as far as that goes, but I don't know.
No, I'm not. To me, it's pretty clear. You know, if you force another car off the road in order to gain a position, that should be a penalty. That's what the drivers were told before the race. So no, I think that's absolutely right. Another penalty, by the way, car number 46. That's Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz. A drive-through penalty for a short pit stop. So that's a critical penalty. That is the team that won yesterday's Pro-Am category. Brian Ortiz and Brandon Godovic. They have a maximum 15 points coming into this round, and that's going to be a penalty for the number 46.
Yeah, that is painful indeed. Like you said, they had a good run going today and a great run yesterday, and we talked about that. You've got to be so careful, and it's so easy to sit here at 0 miles an hour with zero pressure and say, just be patient. You're better off to be a second over on your stop than a second under. Just take it easy. But we're not in the heat of battle when we sit here and say that. But you look at the penalty that's involved. And it does make sense. A second over on your stop means nothing. It's 50 feet, 100 feet on the racetrack to your competitors. Under by a second, you're going to spend 30-something seconds driving down pit lane at the minimum, from pit in to pit out, and then you've got to get back up to speed. It's just not worth it, and it's so easy to make that mistake. Problems here for the 4.
So Michael Minella and Bart Collins in the Nation Safe Drivers, car number 4 for MCR Racing.
A lot of times you spin one of these cars and they're difficult to get restarted. Is the 38 a partner in this? I don't think so. He's not close enough there. This is turn 20 onto the front straight, and no, from the apex out, you see the rear of the 4 begin to come around, and he's just lost it. Now the engine's probably stalled. It takes a while to refire it. You got to get the fuel back to it. A lot of times it gets loaded up with fuel. You got to get that through the exhaust. You'll see a lot of flame out of the exhaust from time to time. Lamborghini Super Trofeo continues on NBCSN right after this. Bill Pilachewski leading in LB Cup. Good run for him today. Agakani mired there between Antonucci. I think just on the last couple of laps, Antonucci actually got past Agakani. But right now, Madison Snow, I'm sure, is starting to get on the radio. The third car in the shot there, the light blue and white number 16 with the Bud Light sponsorship on it, on the radio saying, hey, when I get to the rear wing of the 6, you got to tell him to let me by, because I've got to try to catch Richard Antonucci. And it'll be interesting to see how difficult a time Agakani gives Madison Snow, if indeed Snow is able to get there. Remember, Agakani and Jacob Edson lost out on the championship last year, and who won it? Madison Snow.
Yeah, with yesterday a second place finish for Madison Snow and Stephen McAleer. They're just 3 points behind this race leading car, Richard Antonucci. So it's the order at the front to top 2 positions, the same as yesterday. It's Antonucci again, way over that exit curbing, exceeding the track limits in turn 12. I'm amazed he's able to get away with this on a consistent basis.
Turn 20 as well. And I mean, one thing's for certain, Richard Antonucci, with the experience that he has and the talent that he has behind the wheel, is going to push the limits everywhere. It's what you do as a race car driver. Yeah. You push the limits of the car, you push the limits of the racetrack, you push the limits of the officials until you get a little push back. And as long as you're not getting pushed back, you keep doing what you're doing. Out of 19 that time, and Antonucci, the leader, to pit lane. This is going to be a penalty, we understand, for a pass under yellow. The lead gone. It happens just that quickly. We talk about being aggressive. Perhaps that aggressiveness has cost Richard Antonucci the lead, and with 10.5 minutes to go, it may cost the win. Madison Snow to the point. Alec Udell moves up to second. Kyle Marcelli to third. And Antonucci languishing with a 60-kilometer speed limit all the way down pit lane, now back out on the racetrack. And that is going to hurt, especially, you were just talking about it, Jeremy, a good run for Madison Snow and Stephen McAleer yesterday with a second place finish. If they can take the victory today, that is huge in the championship, and we are just at the first round of 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think we're about to see a pass for 5th position, which is from Pro-Am. Victor Gomez right up with Claude Signoretti as they cross the start-finish line to complete lap 15, with still just under 10 minutes remaining in this race. The other significant car that had a drive-through penalty a while ago was number 46. You remember the Precision Performance Motorsports entry. Brian Ortiz has served his penalty. He's just overtaken Jordan Mistig for 3rd position in Pro-Am, and he's now about 20 seconds behind Claude Signoretti in what would be potentially a change for 2nd and 3rd in Pro-Am, with Victor Gomez about to, or just has, moved into the lead.
Madison Snow has found victory lane in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Championship. His co-driver Stephen McAleer has not. He said, it's the only series that I've run that I don't have a win, and we want to change that this year. They want to change it today, but I'm looking at these shots, and that white car that was in the background is no longer in the background, Jeremy. That's Alec Udell in the 48, the Kelly Moss Road and Race entry, and he is closing in on our leader. It was 1.7 second gap. Now it's down to 1.6 the last time, and the lap times he's turning in are stellar. Alec Udell on a charge, trying to hunt down the 16 just in front.
Yeah, Alec Udell just turned his best lap of the race. Well, last time at 2 minutes 8.9, this time at 2 minutes 9.2. The race leader at 2 minutes 10.1. There's a crash there for number 82 car. That's Scott Wellham. He was running 6th position in LB Cup.
Oh no. Significant damage there to Wellham's car, and it does exactly what I thought it might do, Jeremy, with just over 8 minutes to go. There's going to be a full course caution. How quickly can this be cleaned up, and will it be a dash to the checkered now inside 8 minutes to go? That looks like it was in the braking zone for turn 12, and you could see the skid marks. Contact drivers left with the Armco barrier, and then the car now stranded with significant damage there to the outside of the corner at the exit. This will gather the field back up. Madison Snow now on the radio going, yeah, it looks like it's going to take a long time to clean that up, guys. Alec Udell going, hey, just drag it out of the way. Let's get going.
Yeah, wow. So this is the big guy who's going to gain from this full course caution, of course, is Richard Antonucci.
Yeah.
He served his drive-through penalty for overtaking under yellows earlier on. He's rejoined in the 4th position, just ahead of Victor Gomez, who has indeed overtaken Claude Signoretti for the lead in Pro-Am. 5th position overall then for car number 29. Daniel Mancinelli, despite his drive-through penalties, up into 7th place in car number 11, right behind those 2 Pro-Am cars when we get ready for the restart.
NBCSN's coverage of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America continues right after this. Always good to see the AMR safety team there immediately tending to all of these drivers, making sure that they're safe. The drivers put into the safety vehicle, and they'll all be taken to medical to be checked. That's just a precaution, and it's what you want, and that's one of the great things about this series. It's one of the great things about IMSA is that they're going to take care of their drivers, and I should also say take care of the teams, because any team member is welcome to head over to medical at any point in time. Headache, toothache, cut on your finger, strain on your knee, you name it, they take care of everyone in the paddock, and it's one of the great things about that safety team and the series as a whole as we close down on 5.5 minutes to go. Madison Snow, Stephen McAleer looking for their first win of the season. They would leave Texas with a first and a second if it were to end this way. Can they get it cleaned up, Jeremy? Can they get it cleaned up in time? They're running 2-minute laps, so they only have a couple of minutes to get that stricken car out of the way if we hope to go back to green.
It was almost 3 minutes last time around, but the leaders are already onto that lap before the caution came out, so the next lap will be significantly slower than that, and I fear we might not have time. But there's number 36 car. That is Matt Dickin, yesterday's LB Cup winner, also having a problem on this lap as well. I don't think he was involved in that incident that we just saw the replay of, but I was going to say, if we go back to green, the other guy to benefit from this in particular would be Stephen Agakani in car number 6, because remember he was behind Richard Antonucci. He is now, I believe, perhaps not. I thought he was back on the lead lap, but perhaps not, because I think he still was behind Madison Snow at the restart, so I apologize for that false alarm.
Well, no, I like the drama that you were building. That was that was good indeed. What may be good for Madison Stowe and Stephen McAleer is that we are inside 4 minutes to go, and as we said, with 2-minute laps, it's going to be hard to get this restarted. I'm sure they're saying on the radio, hey, there's some guardrail damage down there on the left as well. You guys are going to want to take care of that. And in all seriousness, the track will do that. We will not go back to green if indeed the track is not safe to run on. You can see the skid marks there into the brake zone, and now I'm beginning to think, Jeremy, that either lockup occurred on the rear of that car, or the rear of that car was not on the ground because of a car behind it. So there may have been contact that sent the 82 into the guardrail there, because those skid marks certainly start from the normal line for Scott Wellham out in the brake zone and turn sharply left across the racetrack. So perhaps a down change done just a little too soon, but typically the technology doesn't allow that to happen like you could do in a manual shift car. And you can see the guardrail has had a significant impact. Driver's left, it's pushed back as the safety vehicle will remove the 82 off the racetrack with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go from here at COTA.
Yeah, and remarkably, I don't think in any of the 4 driver categories are we going to have a repeat winner from yesterday. Still, you know, anything can happen with 2.5 minutes to go if we are able to go back to green. But if we don't go back to green at the end of this lap, then I think it's going to be, well, it is going to be too late, because the clock is going to expire. And the cars are coming up to the final corner now, so
yeah.
I think this is going to be the end of the race.
Yeah, I don't see how that would be possible there. The fast lap is 2:08, and so consequently, I would expect to see a white flag, and indeed, there it is as we cross the line with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go. So this round 2 of the 2021 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America will end under caution. It's not what anybody wanted to see. I know Madison Snow would have certainly loved to have taken the checkered flag in front of Alec Udell in a fight. Any way you look at it, though, it goes down in the books for a victory. So there'll be one more lap. They'll have to finish this lap to get to that checkered flag. But as you just said, Jeremy, no repeat winners, and that really bodes well and shows just how competitive the 2021 season of Lamborghini Super Trofeo here in North America is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be sensational, I think, and super to see then 8 different winners on the weekend. I'll have a quick run down and see if we can get some championship points for you. Of course, they won't be even unofficial until they take the checkered flag, which would be another still 2 or 3 minutes from now. But it's been a really interesting race. It's just such a shame it finished under yellow, because this was building up into a really good battle, not only at the front, but in several other of the classes as well.
Absolutely, and I think we've kind of gotten a taste of what we're going to see all season long. We see different driving styles. We've seen some mistakes on crews that have penalized the drivers as far as short pit stops and such go. We've seen mistakes on the part of the drivers, which have created penalties for them. So everybody makes mistakes. I think it's one of the really cool things about motorsports. Even as technological as the machinery may get, it's still a human that pilots it, and it is a human endeavor. It's those who make the fewest mistakes who will walk away with the championship at the end of the season. We've seen some mistakes made today and yesterday. Teams and drivers will try to minimize those as we go throughout the rest of the season, but it shows some of the aggressive nature of some of the drivers, some of the teams, what they're willing to do to press it and put it all on the line to take home a victory in this championship. And it's one of the things that I think when Chris Ward, who is the senior manager of motorsports for Automobile Lamborghini America, did as he has continued to build this championship here in North America, he's brought in these teams, these drivers who are talented, who do have that charge inside of them to get to the front. 4 new teams with some great pedigrees in the series this year, bringing 9 new entries with them. That's the growth that we talked about, and it's something that I look forward to for the remainder of this season, because I think it's going to bring us some absolutely fantastic racing. A record grid here this weekend, both for round 1 and round 2.
Yeah, it's just stunning. There'll be a few less cars for the next couple of races, I think, at Virginia International Raceway early next month. That race was added very, very late as a result of the cancellation of another of the race north of the border that was scheduled for this season. So, but still, it's going to be a very tight field. There's certainly going to be lots of cars still, and it's going to be more really, really tight racing.
And it doesn't matter how you get to the checkered flag, as long as you get there, full course caution or not, they don't care. Change Racing, Lamborghini Charlotte will do what they have done many times before, and that's see the victory. But for Madison Snow and his teammate Stephen McAleer, it's the first win of 2021 in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and for Stephen McAleer, his first in the series. Victor Gomez brings home the victory in Pro-Am. What a great run from Ashton Harrison. The victory in Am and an LB Cup. Wild Bill Pelichewski is going to drink champagne on the top step of the podium here at COTA. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas, where race 2 of the weekend for Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America has seen the checkered flag. So let's go to victory lane and hear from the winners.
Today's one was great. I mean, yesterday wasn't bad either. We ended up on the podium still, so it was a good start. And then today we were hoping it was going to rain. It was kind of mixing. It started to rain on the pace laps. Steven did a great job, you know, getting the start done, hoping it was going to rain, and then staying up front. And then yellow came out. I ended up getting in the car, and another yellow came out, but had a couple of good runs against some good guys and ended up on front.
As teams and drivers begin their celebrations, the unofficial results look like this. Stephen McAleer gets his first win in Lamborghini Super Trofeo competition alongside his teammate Madison Snow. And for Alec Udell, oh, what might have been. He was closing in on Snow in the final laps, but that charge halted by the full course caution. I'm sure he'll use the lessons learned this weekend and apply them throughout the rest of the season. Rookie Kyle Marcelli and teammate Danny Formal round out the podium in the pro category with a strong third-place finish. And Victor Gomez, he returns to winner's circle, but this time in Pro-Am after dominating the Am category in 2020. Second in Pro-Am, Laura Spinelli and Claude Sonoretti, with Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz rounding out that class podium. Pro-Am may be one of the hottest contested championships this season. And for Ashton Harrison, a great weekend by all accounts. A podium finish with a third in race 1 started the weekend on the right foot, and the victory today will make this event one to remember for sure. Moving on through the order, Alan Metney rebounded in Am for a second-place finish as the duo of Mark Issa and Sandro Espinoza put their bad luck from race 1 behind them and finished third in Am. And in LB Cup, Bill Pelichewski bested the entries from 7 other teams to claim his first win in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, as well as the win for Kelly Moss Road and Race.
Definitely an eventful round 1 for Super Trofeo, but couldn't be happier. The boys and girls from Change Racing gave me a great setup for the long run. Weather was a little bit rain dry, but I'm really happy to be here in the top step and look forward for the rest of the season. It's going to be a fight.
I was nervous the whole last 10 minutes of the race. You know, my team did a great job setting our car up, and it was consistent throughout the entire race, which is ideal for a driver. And so I was really looking forward to capping off, or starting really this year with some wins, but I'm glad to cap off the weekend with one. So it's exciting. I'm relieved, to say the least, but my team works so hard, and Harrison Contracting has supported me the whole time, so I'm so thankful for them.
For a driver, race wins are great, but championships are even better. And while there are a lot of laps yet to be run this season, after 2 rounds, the championship points look like this. For Stephen McAleer and Madison Snow, consistency has moved them to the top in the pro category. A second-place finish in round 1, and then the win today, they own the points lead by 5 over Richard Antonucci. Alec Udell has had a strong debut in the series with a 4th and 2nd place finish respectively. He sits 3rd in pro, and another series rookie, Kyle Marcelli, and his teammate Danny Formal are just 12 points out of the lead in 4th. The Pro-Am category, it's even tighter. Victor Gomez has used his win today, coupled with his 2nd place finish in round 1, to claim the lead as the series leaves Texas. But 2nd place Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz have a victory and a podium as well, and they are only 2 points back of the leader. Moving to the Am class, Ashton Harrison was fast, consistent, and a winner in round 2, and has most certainly earned the top spot in that class. But rookie Gianno Torino is assured to play a role in this championship before season's end. And for Lamborghini Super Trofeo and LB Cup class rookie Bill Pelichewski, well, his debut couldn't have been much better. A 2nd place finish in round 1 and a win in LB Cup today. He deserves to feel good about his performance and his championship lead in LB Cup. The next race on NBCSN for Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America will be rounds 3 and 4 from the historic Virginia International Raceway in Alton, Virginia. We'll bring it to you live on Track Pass from NBC Sports Gold, June 5th and 6th, and then check your local listings for the network broadcast on NBCSN. It was a great return to COTA for the teams, competitors, and especially the fans of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. The 2 races this weekend produced 8 different winners throughout the 4 classes, setting up 2021 to be a very competitive season. Today, the 16 of Madison Snow and Stephen McAleer, they were in the right place at the right time to add more winners' hardware to the trophy case at Change Racing headquarters. Congratulations to them and all of the class winners this weekend. And when you're thinking about motorsports, remember that NBC Sports is your exclusive home for IMSA sports car racing. Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America put on a great show this weekend, and you can expect the same great racing all season long. For Jeremy Shaw and the entire team, I'm Brian Till. We'll do it all again from the next round in Virginia.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.